And hi, everybody, and welcome to Rick Snider's Washington on YouTube, where you get the whole story. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, and hit the thanks button. Ooh, Steve, you're already on here. I'm 2 minutes early, and you anticipated me. I'm usually not early. So anyway, while everybody fills in the room, if they indeed do fill in the room, um, got a lot of Washington Commander stuff to talk about. Some Preakness Stakes. Let's see. Let me line up. Nope, I'm in the wrong spot. There you go. Talk a little bit about Preakness Stakes coming up, and just a general vibe going on. And there's some nonsense in Congress happening now, and the usual nonsense that goes on. So, Steve, just you and I. You got a question you want to ask first? It's all season camps. I never know how many people come. Today was election day in Maryland. I'm getting ready to walk into the poll, and guy goes, "Hey, Rick Snider, love your show. Can I have a selfie?" And my wife looks at me like, "What is going on?" I said, "Yeah, it happens all the time." So I do appreciate everybody who does that. So please like, share, subscribe, comment, and hit the thanks button, which is that $ below the screen. And if you're on Twitter, if you go to my profile, you see another thing that looks like a $. That's another way to tip me. If you would just watch this on Twitter or X, whatever, we'll do it. Who looked ready to kick some butt today? Asked Steve. All right, so Steve, they changed OTAs. It was going to be Wednesday for the media. So I planned accordingly. And then on Sunday, they said, no, Tuesday. And I had commitments today I couldn't break. So I didn't get to go today. I'll go next week. I was at rookie camp. But when they switch last minute, sometimes I have something else to do. Fayetteville, Georgia is Patrick. All right. Welcome to the show. Fayetteville, Georgia. Isn't there Fayetteville, North Carolina? I think. All right. Hey, you must be a Kirk Cousins fan down there. Poor Kirk Cousins. Said today, I don't deal in hypotheticals about would he have gone to the Falcons if he knew they were going to use a first-round pick. All right, Tim, glad you could come on this. All right, so let me roll down what I'm going to talk about, among other things today. Okay, so OTAs and rookie camp. Like I said, I just mentioned they changed the OTA public access on me on Sunday, and I couldn't go in today. So I didn't get to see it except for clips. And I saw what the coaches said and all that. The big thing Dan Quinn seems to be emphasizing here in his camps is speed more than anything, making them go as fast as they can. Fascinating thing happened at rookie camp I've never seen. I love rookie camp because I'm looking for different things I normally see about people. But they started off the drill with like something out of Paris Island boot camp. And the way those guys were doing a foot drill back and forth, really fast, high energy. I'd never seen anything like that. I mean, that's just a tip off of of Dan Quinn's style. I like that some of the players call him Q. If any of you are Star Trek: The Next Generation fans, Q was kind of a crazy immortal that on the show. I just think it's pretty funny, Q. I like that. Quinn did say that really these off-season camps emphasize the passing game, and he'll catch up to the running game more in the summer. I would agree. That seems to be true every year. Jaden Daniels, of course, is wearing number 5 now. He cut a deal with Tressway. And Tressway today was wearing number 10, but it said he's trying out several numbers in the offseason. He'll pick one a little later. I found out that Sammy Ball's number was never officially retired. It was George Preston Marshall, the owner, said no one will ever wear it as long as I have this team. Of course, he didn't have a team by the late 60s. But the team has always honored that request. But they've never had a ceremony. They've never officially retired it. And I think that Tressway could wear 33 and run it for a few seasons till he's done. And then he gets retired as Sammy Ball's number. Talked to people on the team about it. And they basically said, don't want all the blowback on this. We're not looking to do that. Okay. No guts, no glory on that, baby. Jake Fromm was cut today. So, okay, there's 4 quarterbacks left. Do your Jake Fromm from State Farm one more time. Yesterday, out of nowhere, comes Montana Senator Steve Daines, who suddenly says, I'm going to block the bill for the RFK site for the team unless they honor the Native Americans in a certain way, which basically when you cut through all the bull is they send some money. All right, he talked about it. You want to honor it. He doesn't, and here's the weird part. He doesn't want the team to go back to Redskins. He doesn't, what he wants them to do is take that old Indian logo that was created by an American Indian, his family, and put it on merchandise and sell it and have some of the money go to the tribal people. You're just looking to shake down people for money. Now, the reason he can do this one is because the House leader says, we got a lot of stuff to do. And if it's a minor bill, like this bill would be, to put RFK into DC's hands, then he's not willing to do anything but a quick, unanimous vote, gavel it through, gone. If anybody objects, that means we got to spend time on it. He's not doing it. So that's how one guy can hold this up at this point. There is a hearing on a major committee on Wednesday where he'll announce all this again. But Washington Post had it first on there. So, I mean, here we go with the name nonsense again. All right. And of course, Dan Quinn has to wear a shirt with the old Redskin feathers on it. I'm like, what are you doing? And he had no idea. And I felt like saying, welcome to Washington, Dan. You cannot do anything about this name without a huge outcry happening, which he more or less admitted in a quiet way of saying, I didn't realize this and I'm aware of it now. Yeah, welcome to DC, buddy. You cannot be playing games with things like that. It wasn't even an official shirt, which everybody liked and wants. There are bootleg copies out there of this kind of thing. You can buy them online. It's not a Redskin thing. And it's not anything to say the Redskins or the Commanders are going back to Redskins or any of this BS. One thing to remember, Wednesday night, 8 p.m., the NFL will release the season schedule for everybody. Haven't heard too much yet about Washington's schedule. But tomorrow night, 8 o'clock, NFL loves to do big stuff. And then finally, Preakness Stakes. Some of you are horse racing guys. Write this down, 465. That's the winning triple. You'll make $1 billion and send me 10%. But I'm picking Muth, who's Muth is a Bob Baffert horse who didn't go to the Derby. Long story there. Seize the Gray, who won Derby Day in a minor race. He's a D. Wayne Lucas horse. And then Mystic Dan's the Derby winner, who had a great trip and worked hard in that Derby. But I figure him for third here. So 465. Okay, that's what I'm running through. Let's go to your questions. Patrick's a Marylander. Good. Glad to have you with us. Antoinette, will the Commanders stay in Maryland? Is there a deal to build a new stadium? There's not a deal to build a new stadium. There is a proposal to work it out and put it in the same general location as the current stadium. It would basically be built to the side of the current stadium closest to the metro station. So if you know how that works on that side. And then eventually you build that. That's how they did it. Like they do it in a lot of places like Philadelphia. Build a new one and then you knock down the old one. And make it the parking lot. So we'll see what happens on all that. Maryland's trying to say we'll put a lot of money up. Today Jacksonville announced that they're going to kick in like $1.2 billion to keep the Jags. I thought the Jags were going to England in the next round of expansion, but this is a 30-year deal to keep the Jags there. Quite frankly, been to Jacksonville a lot. I don't think the NFL would miss Jacksonville if they uprooted, maybe gave that franchise kind of thing over to St. Louis. Okay. First impressions of Jaden Daniels. Yes, Timothy. Great arm. I mean, I'll say this. You can watch film on guys, but, until you see him on a field, see what they really can do. I was quite impressed with his arm strength and accuracy. Quite impressed with his leadership on teams. I saw him at times in rookie day doing hand signals to outside receivers to get them lined up in the right routes. He already knew the book. They didn't. So he seems to have come in and studied very hard. That's a common thread when people talk about him, is how hard he works. Now, we always hear this kind of stuff, but I think it's true here. And I having seen all this now, I would say, yeah, okay, I see now why you picked him over May and McCarthy. So I'm okay with Jaden Daniels. I think, if he doesn't get hurt, I think he'll be fine. Joel, he thinks it's I do think it will change its name 2-3 years down the road. I think if they change the name, they do it around when they go to a new stadium, which is around 2030. And then you do it. And that's if you don't win a Super Bowl or anything in between. Take that for what it is. Because if you win one, you're not changing the name. Corsi 5. Okay. Blackie Wetzel is my boss's uncle. And I know for a fact he would just like to be honored in some way, not about money. Well, they're talking about money. Maybe they're glad for the honoring. I mean, nobody's disrespected Blackish people. Nobody's ever said he did, tried to push them to the back on any of this. I mean, Blackie's gone now, of course, but nobody's ever denied any of this. We've always had that. I'm all for bringing the name back. I think if you can't bring Redskins back, bring back Braves. This team was the Boston Braves when you started. You can try one of these throwback moves on it. And they changed the Redskins after the first year, but bring it back and then tell the NFL, you can talk to my lawyers. We'll see you in court. Al Davis would have said that. And he got away with it a lot. So we'll see. Right now, it's not, the name is not on anybody's agenda right now, but they'll get around to it. But it's not what the fans think it is. That shirt, all that stuff, it's no tip, like Hank says. All right, Hickory Hound. I will never think the name Redskins is racist, but not using the name is fine. But no one ever mentioned not using Native American imagery until the communists overthrown in 2020. Yeah, I get what you're saying there. I don't consider it a racist term. I think maybe at one time, certainly it was, but that was in the 1930s even. So we're talking almost 100 years ago. I'm in my 60s, native Washingtonian. I've talked to people even older than me who are native Washingtonians. And my question was always, have you ever heard being out on the street, somebody got mad at somebody else and said, you blankety blank Redskin? No, nobody's ever heard anybody say that here. It's not a racist word here. And I think the usage of the word has changed. God knows I've spoken about this ad nauseum for 10 years, easy. Dan Snider being the problem that he was, lost the name for this franchise to try and hide some of his problems. The NFL had a deal on it. It didn't work out. But that's why they lost the name, but unfortunately can't come back. But I would be okay with Braves if they wanted to go with that. Hickory Hound should be able to use the old uniforms and helmets. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that either. No problem with that at all. All right, Todd, glad to have you. Bryce, any guesses for week one opponent? Heard of the Giants. I've heard the Giants rumor too. It's not Dallas because I saw where Dallas is playing someone else. Could it be Philly? No, because Philly's playing down in Brazil, right? So that would leave the Giants as the only divisional opponent. That doesn't mean it has to be a divisional opponent. But I'm not a big one on the schedule makers. There's other guys who do that, who do mock schedules. It's too much effort for I'm sorry, for something that goes away real quick. Semi-chip, never seen feathers ruffle so many feathers. Yeah. If Braves on the warpath, well, okay, maybe we have to change the name a little bit. But I don't have a problem with that. Hickory Hound, you can call them Native Americans, the natives, the Americans. There's a big museum feet from the U.S. Capitol. It's one of the Smithsonian museums, one of the recent ones. And in granite above the doorway is carved the Museum of the American Indian. Mike Wise and I got in an argument about calling somebody Native American versus American Indian. To me, if it is carved in granite above the museum in D.C. that honors them and says American Indian, works for me. But you can call them Native Americans if you want, whatever. Todd, could it be Chicago? Well, they play them there early a lot, don't they? Cleveland versus Dallas. That's right, Joe. I saw that. I remember seeing it a little while ago about it. Fine. Brady's in the booth. I'll be real interested to see what Brady does in the booth. I personally don't think he'll do very well because I think he'll be too PC to really say what he thinks. I didn't see the roast on Netflix. I heard it was good, but I love watching Brady, but I'm not worried about Brady now that he's retired. Let's see, Roy. Do I think the game against the Bears this year will be interesting? Pick 1 versus 2. Well, the NFL loves that kind of stuff, doesn't it? That's why that could be the first game of the season, which would be kind of unfair because both guys would be making a first appearance and both won't be the best player they could be versus a month or 2 or 3 later. So I would hold off on that, but it's a good early season thing. All right. Can't get any worse for Tony Romo. I like Tony Romo in his early years. He got a little lazy in his recent year, Joel. But I thought when he started out, he could pick plays, he could call plays ahead. He did very well with it. I don't watch CBS as much, so I don't see him as much. David, did you see RG3 got knocked off of the ESPN Monday night cast? On the desk. He'll still work for ESPN, but not the Monday night game. They put on Kelsey instead. David, let's see. When do you think we will have a sense of how good this team might be this year? Well, it kind of depends on the schedule a little, but I'd say after a month. I'll be interested to see what Quinn does in the preseason. Does he actually try and play somebody a few games? I mean, I know everybody doesn't want to do a preseason. I just want to say eliminate the preseason or go to 2 games and an 18 because no one takes it seriously at all. You're paying real money and spending real time to watch this crap, and it sucks because no one's playing anybody. Listen, people get hurt every day crossing the street. Play them. I think you got to play the rook quarterback, and so if you play him, get him up to speed. You got to play your line. You got to play your starters. I don't think there's anything wrong with doing, you know, at least a quarter and a half and 3 quarters kind of thing. You can't be afraid in life on these things. But a month or so in, I think you'll have a better idea. But we'll see. Todd, the Commanders released Jake Fromm. They're looking for a new one. No, they have 4 under contract now. That's usually what you take to camp. You take 3 or 4. So I don't think they'll get anybody else on there. Third stringer should be Sam. Now, it's interesting. I watched Sam Hartman throw the ball on rookie day, and his balls kind of had a little bit of wobble to him. Good direction. He did a lot of good things. It wasn't Billy Kilmerish, but I said there's the difference between looking at number 2, who's got a cannon throwing the ball everywhere, and an undrafted guy who's got a little bit of that hesitation in that throw kind of thing. That half-second delay, that's where the safeties and linebackers live. And that's why he didn't get drafted. But I could see them keeping him at least. Well, they paid him a lot of money to sign, so they're going to keep him. He's going to be a third stringer because you can't cut him and put him on the practice squad without losing rights to him. So they paid him a lot of money. That's an expensive mistake. If they cut him, someone else might grab him on there. So I think by giving him a bigger contract that they gave him, he's the third stringer. Command the room. Brady is a something or other and says the wrong things. Well, so do I at times. I had a comment earlier today on a video where I called Ed McCaffrey a tight end. I mean, Luke McCaffrey. See, there you go. McCaffrey, how many times am I going to call him Ed this year? So we all say stuff live. It's tough. This is tougher than you think. It's easy to say something stupid when you're live. Now, I've been doing radio TV work for 30 years, so I'm a little more used to it. But we all still say stuff. It just happens. So, I know it's easy to sit there and go, "Ooh, you said that." This stuff happens. We're all human beings, and trust me, when you get older, the neurons don't always fire quite as well as you'd like. Todd, wasn't it 1981 his first year when he started 0-5? For Gibbs, yes. And at 0-3, Jack Kent Cook was looking to fire Gibbs, and he got on Beathard's case big time, saying, what the heck did you do hiring this guy? You lose again, I'm firing you both. Well, they went to 0-4, and then they both hid from Cook for a week, and they went to 0-5, and then they're really thinking this is it. But, by the end of the season, things have turned around, and then when they won a Super Bowl, Cook claimed all the credit. So you win, and everybody loves you. Roy misses Madden and Summerall. Yeah, I only met Madden one time. It was cool, though. And Summerall, kind of like an old newspaper guy. But Madden was cool to meet. I met Howard Cosell once in an elevator at RFK, and he was everything you might think. But it was still cool to see him on there, celebrity stuff. Let's see. 70 chips. Sam Cosme already learned a lot from Bobby Wagner in practice. Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that one. Greetings from Eastern Washington. Ooh, Tyler. I was thinking about going to Seattle on vacation. Haven't been anywhere hardly in 5 years. So I recently got through a health scare. That turned out to be a medication problem more than anything, but I had to have tests last week, so I didn't do a show. And the test all came back, you're okay. And it's this stupid medicine that was doing it to you. Well, thanks for that, doc. And they're all like, oh, yeah, that can have that problem. Well, thanks, doc. So all I can tell you is I do listen. I have a lot of doctors because I've had health issues over my life. And once in a while, they do something dumb to me. And I'm dumb for not figuring it out quicker. But I'm back now in form, so I'm going on a vacation sometime soon, and trying to have some fun again the rest of my life. When you get to my age, it keeps reminding you, time's ticking. Go have fun. Commander Dan, been wearing that Commanders with a feather T-shirt for 2 years around San Bernardino. Picked it up on eBay. All right, go there. You go. Maybe find guys. I know you guys are looking for it. I'm sure somebody's out there trying to print them, bootleg them, and make some money. Let's see, David. What's your read on the coaching staff overall? In the limited bit of just looking, some good high energy guys, which is great. That doesn't mean they're going to win, but okay, I go for that. I think Kingsbury's a pretty smart guy. I think he'll be good on offense. He's an offensive coordinator, not a head coach. Everybody wants to bitch and moan about what happened in Arizona. He was head coach. Okay, here's an offensive coordinator. Very different world. I think he'll be cool with things. But I haven't seen a whole lot of things yet. Weirdest thing I saw the other day, I posted a picture of it, is they had these really long logs in the bubble. And I mean, I went over and felt them. They're heavy as all. And they made players, it's kind of like something, this is like something also out of boot camp, like other stuff I've seen, where they're carrying it around. It's a teamwork exercise and all. I'd never, ever seen these kind of logs. If you look on my timeline of Rick Snider's Washington on Twitter, you'll see I have some pictures up about it. I thought that was pretty cool. So they're obviously, there's two ways to look at strength. I've seen strength coaches do both. Some feel that reps and overall works. Others think just, grabs big, heavy stuff and throw it around makes you better. Because they say, listen, you're going to be grabbing big, heavy guys. So grab a refrigerator and throw this thing around. I mean, so, Ross, so I don't know. It's like the Rocky movies. Remember, Rocky at the end didn't have anything left, and he said, you get one shot. So he was picking up heavy stuff and throwing it, thinking, if I hit this guy one time, it was one of the later Rocky movies. All right, Command. What do we call McLaurin and McCaffrey McDouble? No, we don't. Okay, Roy. What's the biggest remaining concern about the team? Well, I mean, I think Cornelius Lucas it wouldn't surprise me if he is the opening left tackle. And then maybe Coleman slides over at some point and gets that job. We'll see, because I think Cornelius is a really good spot player and spot starter and reliever. I'm not sure he's a 17-game player. So maybe he starts the season, but the Rook takes it over eventually. If he can't, if he starts tailing off. So that's certainly one there. Tight end, who's the pass catching tight end yet? That's something else. I mean, there's a lot of turnover still, a lot of things to be decided. Todd, am I happy that the Commanders are now retiring numbers from the players of the past? He's looking for Dexter, Joe, and Rigo. I think Rigo is next after Darrell Green, who was just announced. Joe, I don't know. Joe was a great player. Listen, Joe Theismann doesn't get the respect he should. He won 85 games as a Redskin quarterback. He won a Super Bowl. Okay. Doug Williams won 5 games, but he did win a Super Bowl. But Joe won 85 games. And that goes back to Sonny and Billy giving him a hard time all the time. I think Joe deserves more credit than people give him. Dexter's one of the great players too. I reject this thought that Kerrigan broke his sack record, because we know the first year Dexter played, the NFL didn't count individual sacks, but we know that he had X amount, and we know that if you add those on, he has more than Kerrigan. So it's kind of a paper championship. Nothing against Ryan. Ryan did his numbers, but Dexter dominated games. Ryan did not. Do you think we'll get Dallas back-to-back Thanksgiving games, Mark? No, I don't think so. I mean, I can't remember if they've done that before. I don't think so. Usually it's like every 3 years. So I'm like, please don't do that again, because it's great for you, sucks for me. So since I have to answer on my behalf, sucks for them. I don't want them. They bring in a second kicker, Bob. No, I don't think so. Let's see. Dexter ain't even a Hall of Famer. I mean, well, Command, that's true. I think if you have Hall of Famers, should be a prerequisite for retiring a number. And if we say Art Monk, Command, I think Rigo's next. But after that, I would have said Art, but then somebody really pitched me about Charlie Taylor, who retired from the NFL as the all-time leading receiver too when he went. So I think Charlie Taylor was a better receiver than Art Monk. So I would go Charlie Taylor and then Art. I don't think you can retire too many guys because you need the numbers unless we start going to an alpha, delta, beta thing or something. Uh, you know, Todd, you should be a Hall of Famer. So should Jacoby. I'm sure you're talking about Theismann there. Theismann, I think, was just like there's so many guys just short of the Hall of Fame. Nobody ever talks about Joe. I don't see that happening. Theismann. But Joe Jacoby, I think, will be in the Hall of Fame in the next 5 years as a senior committee. And Roy just asked that. So I think Joe will get there as a senior committee pick and should. It's stupid that he's not. But let's see. We're already 24 minutes in. Okay, so I haven't even begged for money yet. So if you see the dollar sign below you, my screen here where it says thanks button, which Steve just hit. Thank you, Steve, so much. That helps support the time that I have to spend here because, quite frankly, I'm dead tired. But I give you guys the time. This is a unique show. Most of you won't see it. In today's new journalism world, you got to help out the journalists because I got laid off 6 times in 8 years. Okay. That's how crazy things are. Now I have my own stuff and I'm staying a little longer until I want to retire, whenever that may be. If that medical test last week had come back bad, I was going to say goodbye. But it didn't. So I get to stick around. Yesterday, I walked 20,000 steps almost on tour. So took people from Poland. We walked all around D.C. Europeans, man, you can't keep up with them. They're fast. Lou, let's see. Do you think Washington will host the draft? No, because the NFL hates Washington. They should, though. Put it on Pennsylvania Avenue. There's a plaza there. You could have it on. And they could draw a lot of people. They should. Todd, thank you so much for chipping in. See, be like Todd and Steve. They get it. You sometimes got to throw a guy a few bucks. If you can't, basically, people always say, I'll buy you a beer. Well, this is kind of like buying me a beer on all of this. So I do appreciate it on there. And like I said, I'll give you guys some time. I am going to do the Monday show for a few more weeks until we get through minicamp, which is in the middle of June. And then after that, I'm going to take a few weeks off until camp starts. Got to take a few weeks off or else you just go nuts. 70 chips. The Heisman kept the team together during the 82 strike. I would not say that. I would say the Hogs kept the team together more. The Heisman was, he wasn't the most liked teammate. And not because he was a bad guy or anything. But he rubbed people a little bit, pushed them a little bit. Mosley, they used to, in the old Redskin Park, they used to put Mosley's locker right next to the door outside because he used so much hairspray. They needed to clear the air out of that thing. And I swear this is true. I'm standing outside the locker room door when it opens, and you see all this smoke kind of thing come out, and Mosley's walking out next. That's a true story. And it did. And I love Mark. He was one of my favorite players growing up. Alexander, what's my favorite restaurant in Southern Maryland? Captain Billy's in Pope's Creek. Was there the other day. Crabs are in now. They're still kind of small. I went by a guy who sells crabs on the side of the road on Mother's Day. I know he had at least 30 people standing in a line to buy crabs. I was like, wow, because they're still a little pricey and a little smaller than I like. But to me, don't get crabs until you get to Memorial Day. And don't buy them on Memorial Day, but the next week on there. Captain Billy's has a huge crab cake sandwich that's awesome, and it's $22. You buy that thing in DC, it's $50. Bethesda, $50. So it's really good for that. Alexander, small crabs, rip off. I agree. Life's too short to pick small crabs. I don't like female crabs either. I like large males. I'd rather you charge me more money and give me a number one. But they don't listen. When I was what I considered extra large kind of thing, the standard has slipped a lot in recent years. There's a lot of mediums. I'll buy, a lot of times I'll buy mediums. That's all I got. Oh, I threw you a few in. That's code for I screwed you on a few of them, so I threw you in a few extra to make up for it. There's a whole bunch more smalls than there are mediums. I don't like buying crabs from guys like that. Command the room. Charlie Taylor had 1,000-yard season, but that was a 14-game career, not 16. So remember that on it. And no, Charlie Taylor was a great receiver on there. I mean, he had speed too. And he had Roy Jefferson play opposite him. I mean, they were a good pair. Suzanne, thank you so much, Suzanne. I do appreciate it. Yeah. Today is voting day in Maryland, so polls have just closed. When I get done here, I'll see if anybody I voted for won. But one of the workers said, "Hey, Rick, take a picture." I thought it was cool just because my wife saw it. I tell her this stuff. I don't think you're a big guy. You're important. Yeah. It really does happen. And I find it funny, and I appreciate people who care enough. Alton, have I had any personal contact with any of the new ownership group? I've spoken to several of them, not at length, because they don't really hang out with us. I've only seen Harris to talk to him in a group setting, not a one-on-one. I don't really care about it at this point. I'm getting to a point in my career where now I'm more of an overall analyst and elder than worrying about trying to crack stories anymore. People don't pay me to do that anymore, and I'm not doing it because it takes too long. Alexander, thoughts on Ted saying he's willing to put up a new offer for the Nats? Show me the money. I'm not sure I want Ted to be the owner, though. The Wizards have been horrible under his watch. The Caps have only been good because of Ovies, by and large. I mean, they had a decent team there for a few years. But Ted said, "Hey, I need content for my TV network. I'd love to have baseball." That's why you want to be the owner, because you can put it on your TV network. I mean, there are worse reasons, I guess, but nah, I'd rather see somebody else. But I don't see anybody else lined up. The grievance. Thank you so much. I'll do twos for a dozen. Got to be ones. I agree. Life's too short to pick small crabs. You got to sit there and fight with them forever. My number one rule on crabs, remember, no mallets. The poor thing's already dead. You don't have to beat it to death. I hate being in crab houses and hearing somebody just bang the hell out of him. Dude, he's dead. Have mercy. Okay, Todd, would Jerry Smith make the Hall of Fame? No, I don't care if he has better stats or not. He's not in a discussion. Is he worthy of it? Maybe, but he's not in a discussion. I can tell you that much. Bob, is there anybody that made me see wow at rookie camp today? Not this year so much. I mean, there was a couple guys. Where's my roster? Hold on a second. I got it written down. There you go. Compelling. I saw a catch by number 83, Marcus Rosemy-Jacksaint. This dude skied for a ball, caught it one-handed, pulled it down. It was an awesome catch. If you want to see it, Ben Standig, the Athletic, had it on his Twitter feed. He got lucky and caught it. It was a great catch. Great athleticism. Is Rosemy-Jacksaint going to make this team? Probably not. Rookie out of Georgia, undrafted. But man, I'll tell you what, that was a great catch. That made me say, "Wow." Let's see. Just looking at a few guys. Number 66, David, and he's a tackle. It's like, hey, woo. I'm sorry, I can't. These long names make me feel like Tank McNamara anymore. Rookie out of Toledo. I liked his energy out there on that field. I liked what I saw of McCaffrey because I was kind of skeptical about that pick, but I think he can make the team and do something for him. You could tell he's from a football family. You could see that kind of thing in him. So that was, it wasn't this big, and of course I was looking at Daniels a lot. So there were 14 TV cameras on rookie day, and that's probably a good twice as many as normal. So a lot of people came out to see him. I mean, he's a Heisman Trophy winner and number 2 picks like RG3. Will this be another RG3 mania? Will JD5 be something to yell all the time? I've heard different disputes on that. I don't think it match RG3 mania, but maybe it will. Oh man, that was just crazy. It was like if you saw those movies of women screaming to death when the Beatles came back in the 60s. And I've often thought, what would make me scream like that? What in life could happen to make me scream like that? If I saw Jesus Christ coming down from the clouds, okay, that might work. Other than that, I don't think there's anything that could make me scream like that. But that's what the RG3 mania was like too. It was just beyond rational on that. Tech, am I going to buy Dan Snyder's old house? Now, I just bought a new house last year and moved. That's too much trouble. I don't want it to new one. I saw it was put back on the market yesterday for the same 35 million he couldn't get, which he also was. He started off at 50 million, dropped it to 35, and then gave it to charity. And I'm sure there's tax things that made it worth it. And he probably thought, I'm not going to get 25 or something. Now, the charity that has it, they can afford to take it, say 25 million, because they got no money into this deal. So that's a one. I'm sure it'll go for a much cheaper price. Todd saw that catch I talked about on Twitter. Yeah, I'm telling you, it was awesome. 70 Chip, Mosley's winning kick against the Giants in the snow was a great RFK moment. I agree. I think that was the last time it was ever snowing hard during a game since. And that was like 81, maybe. And that was I was like his record 23rd in a row or something like that back then. It was that far. He won the MVP award that year. I think it was the last time. And now the season's like 2 weeks later in. But here in DC, it's not as snowy as it used to be when I was a kid. So I don't know if we'll see snow again. It'll be a freak thing if we do. All right, Suzanne saw a clip of the OTAs and noticed there was no defense, but love the pass. Well, yeah, it's at best it's a 7-on-7 when they do this. Nobody's hitting anybody. There's no pressure per se, so it's meant for the passing game to succeed. Todd, Dexter tipping the pass by Gary Hogaboom into Darryl Grant's hands for touchdown. Favorite RFK moment? Yeah, it was a Sports Illustrated cover too, if I remember. Darryl Grant was part of that great 81 draft that they had too. Alexander, what are your thoughts on the Nats this year? They're at 500. I haven't seen today's games, but nobody thought they'd do that. I think they're getting better pitching than they expected, by and large. The hitting's been timely enough. I like how they steal bases all the time. They're getting as much out of this team as they can. That said, I figure they'll probably win around 75 games. And baseball catches up to who you really are over 162 games. Football, maybe you can steal a season. I've seen that happen when you get the right schedule and you can win more games than you should. But baseball at 162 makes it hard to do that. What's the most interesting non-commander storyline to follow this year, Zorn? Well, Jim, I don't know what you're doing nowadays. I'd love to hear about it. I don't know, man. It's not going to be anything particular. I'm sorry. Hickory Bound, thank you so much for chipping in. I do appreciate it, everybody. As I rotate, most people watch the show for like 15 minutes. If you're late to coming into the show, you can always watch it on replay, the whole thing. So sometimes I repeat myself. I guess I'll do it once tonight. Mother's Day is gone, but Father's Day is coming. And $20, you can get my Commanders book. If your dad's a big Commanders fan and you haven't seen this yet, only sold about 7,000 of them. So there's a few of you left that haven't gotten it. You can't get it on Amazon. I can't sign it from Amazon, but let me just say this. Here's how you can get it by PayPal and Venmo. And I didn't really think about doing this before, but okay. All right. So there's where you can get it on PayPal and Venmo. So $20, that includes shipping and handling. I will sign it for you, all that. I don't do this a whole lot. So if you do want to get it, there you go. We can do that. So that's for your dad, your Father's Day gift. Think ahead, boys. Think ahead. Don't do it at the last minute. Although I'll saw him at the last minute too. All right. Do you think we could have Johnny Newton back by week 4, says Scott? I am just saying this based on my many years of experience. This training camp will be my 50th training camp somewhere, including my own back in teenager. We just lost with Federi and Mathis. I said, no, I don't expect anything from him at this point because I haven't needed another surgery. I've just seen it too many times. Oh, it'll be okay. It'll be okay. It's not okay. I've seen this too many times. So foot problems with really big, heavier guys. I kind of knew that one by personal. Don't heal up as well. Um, so I don't have any expectations there this year. Alexander, do you think Josh Harris will eventually sell the Sixers and Devils? Well, I have no idea, but wouldn't surprise me. I mean, he's a guy that's there to make money. So I think, and certainly NFL takes a lot of your time too. So I wouldn't be surprised. He could get a lot more money for him, pay off his debt somewhat on the Commanders. I could see something like that happening. 70 chips. Did truly open the huge doors at RFK to make the wind swirl? No. When the attempted field goal thing? No. Because they didn't have huge doors like that, not like the Meadowlands. So, no, that never happened. And especially with that overhang that they had, the wind was rarely a factor. And you couldn't manipulate it like that. Alton, have you talked with Daryl Green since the announcement about his jersey? No, just a text, but that was all. Other than that, he's been busy. I've been busy. RJ, who'll be the kicker this year? Yeah, Brian Johnson hurt. Yeah. So they got the guy from Jacksonville, whose name I can't remember offhand. You guys remember it. See, this is when you get in your 60s, man. Sometimes you can't recall things. I'll remember it in a minute. That's why I keep, things like this on my clipboard, so I just can look at it and see it. If I don't have that one, I always keep the last lineup card too. Here, I'll step out of camera again. Oh, get to see a little inside baseball here. So here I am. I'm always carrying a clipboard around. Okay, it's just what I do. And then underneath the clipboard is the most recent game card. And so they finished the season against the Cowboys, and I still have that one. Not many guys left on this chart, but it's just one of those ways I can keep my memory on all these things. You'll see, it sucks getting old. But after my last medical thing turned out to be nothing, I feel good. McManus, I'm sorry. There you go, Bob. Thanks. Who will be a surprise cut this year? Well, so if we look at it, could it be Jamin Davis? Maybe. Yeah. Let me look at the roster real quick. Last year's people. Maybe Bates. And let's see. St. Just. Possibility. I mean, they've gotten rid of a lot of guys already. This would be the highest turnover on a team since 1945 when they flipped 63% of the roster. And that's because a lot of guys came home from World War II and all. So, I mean, I went through the rosters every year to look at it. This year will be the biggest turnover since, 63% in 1945, then 46, it was 55.8. 1942, 60%, 43 was 60%. So, during the war years, they flipped it over. They did 60% 3 straight years because you had to find bodies. They used to have like 30-round drafts and maybe get 6 guys to show up. So this year will be that kind of thing on there. Oh, Dax Milne. Yeah, there's one. Sound and Vision brought up. I could be. My thought on T-shirt gate, I thought it was just a new coach who didn't understand how political correctness and how all this works in town. He sure got a quick lesson. I'm just surprised somebody in the organization didn't say, hold on a minute, coach, what you doing? And say, you can't do that because all hell breaks loose when this happens. I just wanted to bang my head. Me and every other writer who covers the team was just wanting to bang our head against the wall going, my God, when is this going to go away? Because we get tired of talking about something that's not going to change, so whatever. All right, got about 20 minutes to go. My wife and I were watching a movie on Netflix. I said, I really like it, but I've got to go do this show for an hour. Pause it and I'll come back. And she looked at me like, you're insane. I'm watching the rest of the movie. You can catch up later. Well, that's what happens when you've been married 43 years. You're on your own, buddy. So, is Gibson going to make the team? No. Gibson's already gone, Alexander. So, he signed with New England, I think, right? So, be interesting tomorrow. First thing I do when I look at the schedule, but it's just because I have to be around, you know, are they playing Christmas? There's 2 Christmas games, which I think is wrong. It's a Tuesday, you know, but the NFL, their religion is money. The NFL does everything for money. I understand that. I'm a capitalist at heart, but that's why I'm sitting here begging y'all for money. But, I just think it's wrong, especially when it's Tuesday at the end of the season. They're just abusing players doing this kind of thing. But I don't think they'll be on Christmas games either, because that's going to be the high-profile teams, the big games, and this team is not ready for that limelight yet. So I don't think they'll get that schedule. But I personally look, is there a game on Thanksgiving? Oh, damn, there is. I kind of, is there a game on Christmas? Okay. All right. And then you just kind of look at, okay, where are they at? You kind of look for teams of, the weather considerations. Are they going somewhere or you got to go somewhere really cold in December, that kind of stuff. Christmas is a Wednesday? Oh, okay. Hickory. That's right, because it's leap year. Well, anyway, it's in the middle of the week. I guess if it's on Netflix, yeah. Man, they paid them. I heard they were talking something crazy, how much money they were willing to pay Netflix. Let's see. You think the Patriots could take back what he said about Drake May? Tech. I don't know what the Patriots coach said about him. Drake May looked like a decent prospect. I mean, I thought maybe not quite as ready-made as Jaden Daniels. I think Daniels is going to be. He won't take a long time to be showing you the good stuff. Drake might. I like McCarthy because I think he's a winner. If they find the right place for him, he'll be fine. Yeah, I mean Hickory. There's a bunch of stuff that goes on there with the roster. So, and then you just see where's the road streaks? How many times you got to play on the road? Kind of weird. There can be some weird things, but you see like, wow, I really wish I had that team. Teams can be totally different teams between September and December. You may think, oh, God, I don't want to play them. Oh, by December, they're beat to death and they're not the same team anymore. That's what makes it hard to really pick wins and losses, because teams can change radically because of injuries. Sound and vision, well, I haven't seen you in a while. This year's new kickoff rules are a big change. Yeah, and I'm not quite sure what to really make of it till I see it. No one from Tampa. Gibson, yeah, I think Gibson will be on the Pats roster. He said Drake's got a lot of work to do. Well, everybody has a lot of work to do in life. We can all be better. Danilo, what are your expectations for Luke McCaffrey? I think he'll be a nice third receiver. Maybe he gets 30-some catches. I've got to see how this offense generates, how much more they're going to run the ball, how many opportunities they're going to do. But I think he can have a role to play. Yeah, Brandon McManus is the kicker. Thanks, Timothy. Appreciate it. We got about 10, 15 minutes to go on there. So let's see. What we talk? Oh, all right. So since we roll through the thing, everybody comes in and out. I did say I used to be an old horse racing rider, and I've covered horses for about 40 years. So 465 is what I'm picking for the Preakness. On there, I'm taking Bob Bafford's horse, Muth, and Seeking the Gray, which is a Lucas horse. Those two guys won a lot of Preaknesses. And then the Derby winner, Mystic Dan. I saw what Gruden tweeted out. Awfully hard to root for somebody named Dan. Jay, what are you doing? Am I going to buy a Daniels jersey? I don't buy any jerseys, Timothy. This is a job, not a passion kind of thing like that for me. So I do have one jersey because someone gave it to me for a Christmas present, and it was Mark Mosley, which I appreciated and was signed. But you won't see me wear it. It's hanging in my closet. But this job doesn't let you do that. Remember, I'm a journalist. I'm not, a fan per se. If I finally quit, I can go back to being a fan. I grew up a fan, but you have to have a professional distinction. And wearing jerseys, and all, in my opinion, is not a professional move by a journalist. No one. Dax Milne should get his job out of UPS. All right, be nice. Sound and vision, thank you so much. Oh, you're older than me? Oh, my God. You poor man. You forget sometimes I'm on, sometimes I forget I'm on. Don't worry about that. But I do appreciate you spending your waning days with me. So, yeah, I always appreciate people who are older than me. I like somebody calling me Sonny. It makes my bones feel better. Um, Tech with golf getting all that money. What's the ceiling? I don't know. He got 170 million guaranteed, and he's a nice quarterback. But he's not a great quarterback. Hickory is talking about McCaffrey's, I assume. On there, Antoinette. What do I think of the Wizards pick at 2? I don't know. The Wizards make it so hard to follow them that I won't pay attention to whatever. But that's 3 teams in town now. The Nats picked it 2 last year. Then Commanders got it 2, and now the Wizards have it 2. They'll blow the pick. They'll pick some developmental player from, the Ukraine or whatever that. And I'm like, the world only has one good player you can pick. It's so frustrating. Jeff, they're planning to have Preakness temporarily at Laurel. Yes, I think it's maybe 2026 and 7. They'll need 2 years. They'll knock down Pimlico and rebuild something at Pimlico, and then Laurel will be gone after hosting for a year or 2. Then that'll be closed, and then we'll just have one racetrack here, Pimlico. And they're even changing the track and direction and all kind of stuff. It's time to move on. Belmont Park is closed right now, so the Belmont Stakes will be in Saratoga this year at a different distance even. So the Triple Crown is going to have to go through some changes. They need to put more time between races in today's modern world. And while traditionists don't like it, we march on with time, Are there plans? So, that's just how it's going to have to be. Otherwise we never change anything. So we got a few minutes to go. Okay. Show's starting to drag a little. I do appreciate we had decent numbers. I appreciate everybody coming on there. I try to spend the next few weeks really paying more attention and then take a break before we go to training camp. I took a group from Poland around yesterday. Nice people, didn't speak much English. It was kind of a weird thing, but we walked almost 20,000 steps because they wanted to walk. And Europeans can really outwalk Americans, so I wasn't surprised. But So we walked into the National Arboretum, which is right by the Capitol. It's one of the few buildings that doesn't have metal detectors and has public restrooms. So they got off the bus from New York, which used the restrooms. You walk into that place, it's like 95 degrees and 90% humidity for all the tropical plants. And they were like, whoa, because it was like 75 yesterday in D.C. That's hot for Poland. And I just told them, I said, what you just went through is what summer is like here in D.C. And they're like, no. I'm like, oh, yeah. Yeah, it's hot as blazes and sweaty as all here. But it's home. Bob's got to run already. Come on, Bob. We got 5 minutes to go. No, I'm kidding, Bobby. I appreciate everybody stopping by for as long as you can. And like I said, if anybody wants the 100, Commanders fan, you can go to Amazon or you can go to my website, monumentalthoughts.com, and order it there. And you can go to just send me on PayPal or Venmo what I put up already. And of course, we'll talk about this closer to the time. But I do have a new book out about presidents and drinking. So same thing for Venmo and PayPal, but this one's just 15. So if you want to, send me a note, whatever, and we'll do it. A friend of mine is a salesman, said, if you sell 2 things, you sell no things. Whatever. Yeah. When we get near Father's Day, you'll be looking to buy it. Maybe I'll raise the price. David, thank you for coming by. Appreciate it. All right. Any more questions? We can end early. My wife's probably finished watching that movie we were watching together. We'll make her rewind it. Was in some Netflix movie with Brooke Shields. It was looked kind of funny on there. So Preakness Stakes is coming. We're kind of hitting a weird part of the schedule. A lot of weird, once a year kind of things are coming through. There's playoffs and other things. NBA just doesn't excite me very much anymore. The NHL, I couldn't even tell you anything about the NHL playoffs. I saw Caitlin Clark's finally playing ball pro-wise. Man, what a meteoric rise that is for women's basketball with her. She is a nice shooter. I was pretty impressed watching. I don't usually watch a lot of women's college basketball, but I did watch hers, and she's legit. So kind of fun to watch. 72 went to Canton for the first time. I've never been to Canton. I've been to Cooperstown when I was a kid. I've got to go to Canton at some point. When, I don't know. I don't know when I'll be around that area, but it would be cool. I've been by the Hockey Hall of Fame in Toronto. Didn't go inside. Just was outside going, oh, Hockey Hall of Fame's here. I should have gone inside, but I had my family with me. I just didn't think about it. We were going to a concert. I saw pictures on Facebook of my cousin with her two daughters, and they were at the Taylor Swift concert in Paris. I'm like, ooh, somebody's got money. Good for them. So they're one of those people. I saw Brian Weinstein came back, was on the air. He took his family to Paris, and they saw the Taylor Swift concert. So I guess I heard it's a big deal over there. A lot of Americans going to see it. So I watched it on Disney Plus for whatever. And Taylor's fine. A lot of songs that that's why I wanted to tell Kelsey, don't screw this up, dude, or she'll have a song out and every woman in America is going to hate your guts. So better treat Taylor right. Otherwise, you're going to hear about it on the radio every 10 minutes. I'd hate to be that guy. All right. 5 minutes ago. I don't know who that Peter Schrager is, Zach, but predicting Commanders Giants. Sure, but people can predict things all they want. But here's the thing. What happens if they're wrong? Do they get caned publicly? Do we stone them to death? No. There's no accountability. I guarantee this will happen. Or what? What's the guarantee? Are you going to give me money? I didn't guarantee my Preakness pick. Notice that. Predictions are like, a bad word that everybody has one. So I think yes, I do think I've said earlier that I think the Commanders Giants could certainly be it, but it's just one of a dozen combinations that it could be. He's got Good Morning Football. Is that the NFL Network, Zach? I don't watch a lot of sports stuff on TV. I've spent enough time watching this team, and I have some other things in my life at this point. So if you can, hit the thumbs up button for me. That makes the algorithm happy. Got to make the algorithm happy because half of my traffic comes from it. That's why I do that whole please like share thing. That makes the algorithm listening say, ooh, thank you. So that's one reason why. We'll be back next Monday, 8 to 9. It's my plan on this. I don't normally do Tuesdays, but I couldn't do yesterday. And we'll do like the next month or so, mini camps a month from now. They have OT days every week, though, for 3 days. So we'll do that. Videos in the morning, 6 a.m. and around 5 p.m. more or less in the evening. So you can always see that. Oh, Austin Brooks is leading Trone, huh? Okay, Timothy. I have to go look at the election results coming in. I figured that was going to be something. I saw where Trone is the senator, from those of you who don't know this, from Maryland. And I read in the paper where he's put $62 million of his own money into his campaign. Well, that's great because they call me 3 times a week asking for money, and I ain't never given them any. Any politicians never getting any of my money. They get enough in taxes. Screw them. But 62 mil, and they haven't even gotten to the general election, which is going against former Governor Hogan, who's very popular here, even as a Republican in a Democratic state. He might win too. That's a lot of money, man. For me, a politician, tell me what you're going to do. I don't want to hear you beg for money so you can have more TV commercials where you attack the other side of being bad people. How about just simply standing up and saying, here's my plan to do better things for us. Here's what I would like to do. I want to do this, this, this. That's what I want to hear the guy do on that. Not, that old guy stinks. That doesn't do us any good. That's name calling on the playground. If that's your idea of smart business, then I don't need you. All right, Antoinette's heading out. That means we can all leave. Thank you, Antoinette. Nobody can leave till you do. So I do appreciate that. All right, so we'll just end a couple minutes early. It looks like you guys are done. Steve, thank you so much for coming. As always, Steve spends every minute with me, pretty much. He'll wait till I hang up. I could tell you. Thanks everybody again. Watch the videos in the morning, evening, yada yada, whatever. We're done. It's May. We don't have to do hardcore all the time. So I'm Rick Snider. Thanks for coming. I'll see you soon. Bye, everybody.